I chose. Let me put something behind it here. These are just, I'm not even quite sure where it is. Oh, okay, I see the live now. Okay, that's great. So once again, welcome if you missed the beginning. I'm Annina, one of the facilitators for the coloring at the Huntington Library, and it's nice to be with you. I'd like to thank Lisa Galino very much for setting this up. And also, this week we've got a fabulous link on the sidebar, one of the sidebars there, for New York Times travel coloring pages. There are about 5 of them. And if you click on the link, you'll be able to download them and print them out. And I was talking about one of them last week, and I just want to show you a couple of them. This is the one that I picked to do last week, and I'm going to show you what I did. This one's great. I think I'm going to do this one next. And again, I'm not sure where they are. If you know where they are, that probably makes it even better. And this one too. But anyway, my challenge to you for this week would be print them out and pick one to do and use a couple of new techniques. So back to the one that I picked for myself, which was this one. And oh, and by the way, there's a really good article there as well, which you can read, which says really good things about coloring, like it's very relaxing. And once you get going, you really can get into a really nice rhythm and a really nice zone. And believe it or not, sometimes you'll even start telling yourself stories, which is fantastic. That's actually what happened to me a bit. So what happens is for me, sometimes I'm stumped and I look at the page and I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to color this? I mean, I love color, but I don't, sometimes I'm very shy to get going and I just don't know what to do, how to pick a color. So I had this idea last week. I just picked a book that I like, and you've probably got many books at home that you like too. It's these just really cool images. It's actually a finding book. So you can look and you can search for different things and it tells you what to search for, like an elephant or the number 6. But what I was interested in is the color palette. And so I'm like, well, what kind of I'm going to just take the color palette from the picture. So I picked this one and I looked at all the different colors, you know, like the blues and the greens. And I looked at the, like the mauve, the red, and then the background is kind of a yellowish or ivory. And I tried to match it. So I just put it down here and I, you know, grabbed my pencils, you know, whatever I had, and a blank piece of paper. And I just kind of experimented and would hold it up and see what I could come up with in terms of a color palette. And it was totally mixed. I mean, I was using pencil. I was using, I think I did use marker, pastels, everything. But I stayed within exactly these colors. So I didn't really have to think very much. And this is what I came up with. I hope you can see it. I'm going to put it up real close. And you can see how just knowing about those mauves and the greens, I think I did get some of the blue in too, and the yellow. It just really helped me. And I think, even though maybe it's hard to see, I got the sky in as well, kind of like a Naples yellow with some texture. And it really freed me up. So I didn't have to worry so much about, you know, thinking too much about the colors. And then I was able to have some fun with the texture too. So here I happen to be using pastel. So I put the light pastel, the green, down, and then I put the dark green over it. And then I would just scratch. And for that, Let's see if I can just put it down. Whoops, something happened here. There we go. I would just put it down. I don't know if you can see. Let's put it down here better. But I would just take like a tool, so kind of a very narrow tool, and scratch in like a scratch board. And then you would get that kind of that light mark like that. And if you compare the two different, the coloring, it's really pretty similar. Let me see if I can find it again. This one. See that, those palettes, right? This one's a little bit stronger, but it's pretty similar. Hard to tell, but there you go. So then I decided to do another one, which I'm not sure it was as successful, but it's just to give you the same kind of an idea. I used, again, the same, maybe I use the other side here. See the other side. And here, like, there's a lot of peach. And there's like some plaid on the peach. So I used the same design, but it looks completely different, doesn't it? And it's not finished yet. It's not finished yet. So that's what I'm going to work on a little more this week. You know, I used some of that texture thing here. And then I used this blue and purple outline. And then this plaid from that image. The other thing that quickly you might be like, well, it doesn't quite look like the picture that I printed out. So here's the printout. But you know, this is what's so cool about coloring. I started looking at it and I'm like, I don't even know what this is. I have no idea. If you can tell me what that is, send me an email, but I have no clue. I just was completely stumped. I was coloring away here. I'm like, that's not a dome. It's not a house. It's not a tree. I don't know what it is. So I have no idea what that is exactly. So I just cropped it like that. I just cropped it completely. And that really made it stand out much better. You see how I just cropped that out. Like that. So I would say, like, don't be afraid to, if there's a part of it, like, let's say you pick this one to do this week. I would say, don't be afraid to, if you want to just clip something, you just want to do that. There's nothing that says you can't just color that part or, you know, color that part. If you think that it would look better, just like that. Those are sort of the fun decisions that you get to make when you're doing this. And that's what makes it sort of an adventure. And each coloring piece is just kind of a little experiment. And again, actually, you might want to print out too. Like I was saying last time, this was kind of like my rough, where I was kind of like, yeah, I know I want to use these colors. Maybe I want to use these textures, but it didn't really work out. Like, I didn't really end up liking this background. I wanted to do something a little more detailed. And I did like the hieroglyphs on that one. But then I was thinking, yeah, but I want all the domes to kind of look the same, you know, to have that same color. So these are all little decisions that you're going to make. But just a quick recap, because I want to keep these quick. But go ahead and print out from the link, print out a couple so you can experiment a little bit. And then find a painting or a picture that you really like that has a good palette. and see if you can match it with your markers, with your crayons, with whatever you're going to use, and sort of have a little cheat sheet with your palette, and then just use that palette. And don't forget to use a little bit of texture if you want, a little scratching, or a little bit of background cardboard, or remember we did that thing with the stencil too, if you have a fun thing that you can rub on, and see what you come up with. And I would love to see what you can do this week. And we're going to have, I put the same challenge out to the coloring club. And so hopefully we will have a couple of members, or at least one other member as a guest, talking about how they did it and their decisions, and their, what they decided to do. So I want to wish you all happy coloring and creativity, and hoping you're continuing to stay safe. And remember, if you'd like some creative support or feedback, feel free to email the library and you can join up our Zoom and creativity group. So all the best, and look forward to hearing from you and seeing you next week.